Hello everyone and welcome to my Bachelor Nation official channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and gives this video a thumbs up. I believed Gansert from the Golden Bachelorette was a lock for the Golden Bachelor Season 2, but I was mistaken. The 66-year-old former emergency room doctor recently announced that he would no longer be looking for love on television. He had a bad experience the first time around. Guy was one of 24 single golden men who traveled to the legendary Bachelor. House to date Joan Vassos, 62. Despite making it to her last two, she chose to give her final rose to 62-year-old insurance executive Chalk Chapel instead. Guy has been on the shortlist for possible franchise leads since his elimination on the Golden Bachelorette Season 1. The Golden Bachelor Season 1 sought a replacement for Jerry Turner, who was 72 years old. Guy, Joan's runner-up, would have been an obvious option. He was one of my top picks for the part. For a while, it appeared like he was lobbying for the position by posting more frequently on social media. Instead, Guy has a new girlfriend and is thus ineligible to be the Golden Bachelor. Guy attracted Joan's attention on the first night of the Golden Bachelorette Season 1 and distinguished himself throughout the season. He was the type of person who other contenders appeared to like. When another candidate, Kim Boyk, asked the other men to sing Joan a song, he was extremely upset when they all declined. Guy was the lone participant to join Kim in singing the odd song. Guy was also there for 66-year-old Charles Ling, who needed assistance dealing with the pain of losing his late wife. Joan visited Guy's hometown on the first season of the Golden Bachelorette. She met Guy's friends and family, and they adored him. She handed Guy one of her last 3 roses, and after Pascal, 69, eliminated himself on his overnight date, Guy and Chalk were the only 2 left. Joan had a difficult decision to make, but she ultimately chose Chalk above Guy. Guy seemed like an obvious option to be the Golden Bachelor. A scandal erupted in Bachelor Nation when the Season 1 finale of the Golden Bachelorette airs. Things appeared to be going well between Joan and Guy until people reported that his ex-wife, Heidi O'Gara, filed for a temporary protective order. In October 2021, Guy's ex accused him of being angry and threatening. Despite Heidi's unsettling charges, she rescinded the order a month later, and it was never legally issued by a judge. When knowledge of Guy's protective order became public, he responded on Instagram. The Golden Bachelorette Season 1 star stated that he and Heidi were in a poor situation at the time. Guy and Heidi were married 34 years and had 4 children. Though they had a tough divorce, they eventually reached an agreement, causing Heidi to withdraw the protective order. To me, it sounded more like a family drama than a commentary on Guy's character. I was convinced that Guy would be announced as the lead of the Golden Bachelor Season 2, but I was mistaken. Guy may have been on the shortlist, but the Golden Bachelorette star recently dashed all hopes with a single Instagram post. He just shared a selfie of himself and his new girlfriend, Johanna Boston, smiling in front of a large heart. Guy's caption says, "I've found my reason." Now that Guy is out of the picture, the field of prospective Golden leaders has grown even fewer. When I first saw Guy Gansert step out of the limo on the Golden Bachelorette, I had a gut feeling he'd be someone to watch. There was a calm, charismatic presence about him, equal parts gentleman and romantic optimist. From the very first cocktail party, Guy was attentive, thoughtful, and emotionally open in a way that stood out among the 24 men competing for Joan Vassos' heart. He wasn't the flashiest or the loudest, but he was sincere, and sometimes sincerity wins. Joan noticed too. Their early connection blossomed over shared values, gentle humor, and quiet strength. Guy wasn't just there for screen time or to revive a past life. He was truly hoping to find love again. As a 66-year-old former emergency room doctor who had spent most of his life helping others, he seemed ready to shift his focus inward, to reconnect with his heart after years of hardship, including a complicated divorce and the ups and downs of fatherhood. As the season progressed, Guy became one of the frontrunners. While others faltered under pressure or got caught in petty squabbles, he remained steady. His biggest moment came during that impromptu serenade night, when Kim Blake asked the men to sing for Joan. Most of them declined, dismissing it as silly or awkward, but Guy stood up, walked over to Kim, and joined him in song. It was goofy, heartfelt, and completely unfiltered, a testament to who he was. That moment wasn't just for Joan, it was for Kim, for the group, for the spirit of vulnerability they'd all signed up for. Then there was the emotional night with Charles Ling, who was grieving the loss of his late wife. Guy sat beside him, not with empty platitudes or advice, but with presence. It was a beautiful reminder that these men weren't just chasing love, they were navigating the complex terrain of second chances and loss. In many ways, Guy became the emotional anchor of the season. Joan's hometown visit with Guy was one of the most moving in Golden franchise history. His children and longtime friends spoke of his kindness, his loyalty, and the growth they'd seen in him since his divorce. It felt like watching a man who had healed just enough to be open again. When Joan gave him one of her final 3 roses, it felt not just earned, but inevitable. Then came the surprise: Pascal's self-elimination. With one overnight date gone, the final decision came down to Chalk Chapel and Guy Gansert. Both were compelling choices. Chalk was consistent and warm, with a quick wit and easy rapport with Joan. But Guy had something deeper, a sense of real partnership, an understanding of Joan's fears, and a willingness to commit fully. So when Joan chose Chalk, it sent a ripple through Bachelor Nation. Social media lit up with reactions, many expressing disbelief. How could she pick Chalk over Guy? In the days that followed, fans rallied behind Guy with hashtags like trending. Many began to speculate he would be the obvious lead for the Golden. Bachelor Season 2. That possibility seemed even more likely as time went on. While Joan and Chalk shared sweet photos and gave joint interviews, Guy quietly returned home but stayed in the public eye, at least enough to keep the speculation alive. He posted thoughtful reflections, shared throwback photos, and even hinted at being open to love again. There were murmurs that ABC was preparing to announce him as the new lead during the next Women Tell All or after the final Rose special. But then came the bombshell. Reports surfaced that Guy's ex-wife, Heidi O'Gara, had filed for a temporary protective order against him in October 2021, citing anger issues and threats. The story, published by People, cast a long shadow over his previously untarnished image. Though the order was withdrawn a month later and never enforced by a judge, the damage was done. Even with the legal resolution, the timing couldn't have been worse. Guy responded with a lengthy Instagram post, opening up about his difficult divorce and the emotional toll it took on both parties. He didn't excuse his past behavior, but framed it as a low point in a decades-long marriage that had since evolved into a co-parenting partnership. "I am not proud of everything in my past," he wrote, "but I believe in growth, in making amends, and in being better. Thanks for watching. If you likes this video, do not forget to subscribe to my channel and do not miss any update."